All right, let's talk about how to build a 315 bench press naturally. All right, first of all, the trick is not to learn to arch better. It's not to learn to get in tighter. It's not any of those things, because right there, you guys see me as an old man just flat backing. That's not even my top rep for the day. Just flat backing, heels flat, long pause, no wraps, right? And just benching it. Okay, so that being said, the tricks to doing this, and I'm going to kind of quote even Dan Green from years ago, and granted, I understand he is not natural, but let's go there. Let's go there. He even said back in the day, that's not the trick. The trick is to just start by building your chest. The trick is to learn how to pause. So that is really the fundamentals. I'm going to say for most of you out there, most of your foundation for doing that is to learn to just do lots of pause benching. Okay, pause benching with a moderately wide grip so that you build your pectorals. Okay, notice again, you don't necessarily need an arch for any of this. In fact, I'm going to venture to say that if you really want to build a big bench, do most of your rep work without arching. Why? Because that pause work, maintaining that tightness while you pause and getting that extra range of motion is going to build your power out of the bottom. Okay, because again, a raw bench press is all about the chest right out of the bottom. Now, your lats can help, and we're going to discuss lat training just a little bit in here. I do think it's important you do lat work, but there have been some guys with some monstrous benches who didn't even do much lat work or have lats. They have existed. So again, deep stretches, deep pauses. So again, if you're natural and you're talking about a raw bench, it's not about partials, it's not about board work. It is about that deep stretch. So again, let me reiterate, pause, 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 pause. In fact, my bro Jared Burton, who benches over 500 pounds, the guy benched like 540 as a master's too, raw. He's the same way. He's just like, dude, I do all pause benching all the time. Pause, 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 pause. Right? He does tons of it. That's your key. And you need that wide grip on most of it. You need to build your chest. Okay, you need to build your chest. And again, if you do those things, if you do pull-ups and you do lat work, that is everything you need to get that power out of the bottom. And for most guys, if you can get that weight started from that dead stop, you're going to be in a good spot. Now, I'm going to address the other things in a minute, but let's discuss that. So again, you'll see me doing some pull-ups in here. Get strong at pull-ups. Get strong at dumbbell rows. Whatever you need to do, build your lats, build your upper back. That gives you that shelf, and it helps you get that power out of the bottom, because you can help use your lats a little bit to help drive that bench out of the bottom from that dead stop on the chest. But we do need to be clear when we are talking about a raw bench press and you're talking about a drug-free lifter, those pecs are everything. They are number one. But I don't want to say that lats don't matter for getting out of the bottom, but pecs will be your primary movers, and we need to be clear on that. So that wide grip pause benching, and if you need to, add some dumbbell work. Now that's also where I like incline bench. Okay? It's why I like incline bench. Why? It's multifold. Number one, it is a phenomenal chest builder. Again, the same thing. Watch on my incline benching though. What did you see? Nice wide grip. I'm not saying you have to pause. I feel like pausing can help you get out of the bottom of the bench because of, again, learning to power that chest through. Okay? But light touch and go works too. But the main thing is the additional pectoral that it gives you to get you started out of the bottom. The other thing to think about, when you start to slow on the way up, if you pop it out of the bottom and then it slows 4 or 5 inches off the chest and when it's trying to drift towards your face in that transition point, that puts you in a similar angle to what the incline bench does. So if you're strong at an incline, you're not going to miss the bench at that transition point. And that transition point happens lower and lower down the more advanced you get. Okay, so that's been studied in elite benchers versus novices versus just strong average power lifters. Like that was studied 20 years ago. They measured it with cameras and looked. And what they found is that the bigger your bench was, people ranging anywhere from 200 up to about 600 pounds, the heavier the bench got, in other words, the more elite, the sooner the bar drifted toward your face out of the bottom. Okay? The sooner that transition happened, the incline bench will build that transition point. Get strong at the incline. And if you don't get strong at the incline, then add some sort of other chest work in. But pause benching in a secondary chest exercise. Okay. Well, we have that middle area, which is where I'm kind of sticking in that video. You saw that 335, that's where I slow. That's all shoulders. Okay. That is shoulders, anterior deltoid, all of those things. So next thing up, you saw me doing seated presses. Now, the seated press I really like, and you guys can see there, at this point, it's a weak link in my strength. You see it in my bench. I stick about 2/3 of the way up is where I slow down. Okay? What does that tell us? It tells us I need more shoulder. Need more anterior delt. Well, any sort of overhead press will get you there. Now, I'm being a little more specific because I really like the barbell. You could do it with dumbbells. You could even do front raises, right? You could do front raises if you want, bodybuilding style. But you need to build that area up, okay? And it's going to make you look more aesthetic and jacked too. That's the other thing to think about. All that incline work and overhead work, what's that going to do for your aesthetics at upper chest, those front delt tie-ins? It's going to make you look good on top of it. But that's how you get through those sticking points, okay? That's how you get through it. Now, tricep work is going to be the final key. Why? That last bit of lockout, okay? If you are struggling at the very end of the lockout, tricep work is going to help. But the other take home, the other thing to think about when we're talking about a big bench, and this is where just hypertrophy matters. When you look at some of the data, even out of the bottom, the triceps matter. That is a myth that the triceps are all lockout. That comes from the equipped world. Okay. When you look at studies that looked at EMG on max benching, what they found is that the closer you get to your 1 rep max, the more the long head of the tricep gets activated. Well, the long head doesn't grow from pressing. See where we're going with this? Benching doesn't build your long head, but it gets heavily activated when we get to 90% or higher of a 1 rep max. And it gets activated even out of the bottom. Okay, there's your final key. You need to do bodybuilding work for your triceps. And it needs to be that long head bodybuilding work. You need to do extensions or rope press downs. Why? That's going to give you that last bit of push that will help you get the triceps firing even out of the bottom. Because again, if you can get that weight moving fast enough out of the bottom, what's going to happen? You're probably going to lock it. So that is the final key to this. For those of you trying to get there, okay? You got to then finish off with some bodybuilding work for that long head of the triceps. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.